And a very good afternoon or evening, wherever you may be, fellow Watford supporters. You ORNS post-match is on the air, live on X and live on YouTube. Welcome aboard. Omar here. And it is You ORNS post-match time. And after a Watford victory, Watford 2, Sunderland 1, that is exactly the score that I predicted today. I did tell you in the You ORNS pre-match that Watford would win this game by a score of 2-1, and exactly that is what they did today. Really good stuff then from the Hornets. I think this is the best match they've played this season. Yes, they've had victories this season, but I think this match from start to finish was their best performance overall. You've got to be very pleased about this. I want to just say one thing before I allow everybody to have a go at this one. I thought that the substitutions were excellent today. I thought that Musa Sissoko was brilliant. Man of the match for me. Really controlled the park very well. He was box to box today. You love that from him. Back to his best. And Kwadwo Bar has got to get a star as well. He was terrific. Just on the pitch for less than 15 minutes, and he made a difference. He won the penalty. You can make a case that he could be man of the match as well. Really good play from him. Smart football, as always, from Bar. A danger man, proving that he has really come of age now. Bar has made that game Watford win, and I predicted before the start it would be a 2-1 victory, and I am very pleased that Watford got over the line. If you have your say, if you want to have your say, please hit the request button. More than happy to hear from you, as always, Watford fans. Great to have you here. Omar on board here on X, on the You ORNS post-match. We're also on board on YouTube live as well. And you can hear me on YouTube, which is really good because we couldn't do that earlier. But it's great to have you here as well. I'm reading your comments out on both YouTube and on X. So if you don't want to come on board, you can leave your comment and I'll read it. But David on X is going to have first crack at it, and you'll get to hear him next on You ORNS post-match on both X and live here on YouTube as well. David, you are first up. And David, you're on You ORNS post-match. Welcome aboard.
Hey.
Hello there, David. I can hear you, David. Go on. Hello there.
Hi, Omar. Yeah, that was all about the result, I think, given the last few results, obviously, that we did have. We didn't deserve a win based off the second half in the slightest. I think we were flagging. The commentary sort of said that Sunderland were fitter and sharper, and I think that's spot on. So, yeah, obviously with the challenge that was made on Bar for the penalty as well was just, well, from a Sunderland point of view, you'd be absolutely fuming, given that it was in their grasp that they could go on and win the game themselves. So, but yeah, Bar has made the difference. I do wonder whether he is sort of always going to be better as a sub, having that impact against more tired legs. But what more can he really do? I think he, as I say, our performance was so flat in the second half. He's got us out of jail massively. And, well, a draw would have been probably a decent result, given that we didn't really turn up in the second half. But a massive win, because I think the longer, obviously, we go without a win, it becomes a bit more of a struggle.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Maybe I did overstate things a bit about being the best performance, but yeah, there were times in that game we were there to be had. Sunderland dominated us a lot in that second half. You can make that point safely. I do agree there. But I think, though, David, there was a lot of perseverance today. And as you said, it was about the result. And I do think that the reason why perhaps I did say that Watford gave their best performances, because I think they were more disciplined today for the most part, from half to half than they had been, even though they switched off early in the second half. I thought their discipline level was better. I thought that their resilience was better. I thought they fought together as a team better in this game. Sunderland are a very dangerous side. And yeah, Sunderland probably come away from this game feeling hard done by. They did own the vast majority of the second half, to be fair. Watford, they did the fundamentals right for once. I mean, that's my criticism of Watford this season. They have not done well with the footballing fundamentals. But this is a big win today, David. You know that. I predicted it would be a win for Watford, a 2-1 win, and I got that spot on today. So I'm very happy about that. But yeah, Quadro Bar was the man. You could make a case that Quadro Bar is the man of the match here today. I also think Sissoko was excellent. Very pleased with him. So yeah, it's a fair point you make, David, there.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. Obviously, the team has, they've dug in. I think they do work together. They do try their best. It is a little bit concerning, the performance levels, probably in the last few weeks. But yeah, I think Sissoko again, massive positive. And yeah, probably just not ideal today with obviously Porteous coming on at right wing back was hopefully something that we don't have to see ever again. And yeah, I think Kiembe probably not really up to speed as well. So probably not in the best position with the squad at the minute. Obviously, Ryan Andrews would have given us a much better option coming off the bench in that right wing position. So yeah, just to get through the game with the result. I mean, yeah, we were never looking like going on to win that. So it's a massive 3 points. And I think you need those sort of results in the season because, yeah, a loss there is pretty damaging. So, yeah, massive win. And obviously a tough game on Wednesday. But yeah, also, I'm beaten at home. So that's absolutely massive as well.
Absolutely right. David, thank you so very much indeed for your comments. As always, really appreciate it. David, take care of yourself. Good Watford win today. And thanks again for your comments.
Thanks, Omar.
You're welcome. Thank you, David. Really appreciate that. David there with his comments today. From his perspective, not the best Watford performance in the second half. We ran ourselves a bit ragged. But the bottom line, as David says, is that the result is what counts. We got the result. We ground it out. Fortunate in some ways, but look, we got it done. Our home record continues to be stellar, unbeaten at home this season at the Vic. Watford win the game 2-1. Yes, David alluded to the very tough game we got next. That is a Wednesday visit to Preston North End. Not the best place to go to try to get a victory. Watford did get one there a season or two ago, maybe once or twice. In fact, they got one last season. They won there 5-1, so pardon me. Just last season, a 5-1 win at Preston. You might remember that game. I think Preston might have even taken the lead in that game, and then Watford scored 5 unanswered, 5 without reply. And that was where Watford beat Preston 5-1. That was last season, so that's a different kettle of fish. But Watford will get more confidence. And I think they were very confident today in the way they started this game. I predicted that they would get out of the first 5 minutes without conceding. But unfortunately, in the second half, they weren't able to do the very same thing. And Sunderland, look, they did play well. Sunderland, I think probably if you looked at this game, Sunderland probably played a better game overall than we did. I think Sunderland were energized by the opening goal. When Watford scored the opening goal, Sunderland got better in the game. Sunderland's game plan was to allow the possession to Watford. That's something that Sunderland usually live with in games. But I thought it was how Watford handled the possession advantage in the first half that I think gave us some momentum and confidence. We looked a lot better in possession. Sometimes teams will give you possession at home, and it's what Watford have had a lot of problems with, what to do with the possession that they have. Now, I think on balance in the first half, Watford did a lot more with their possession. And look, shot on target, they got the goal, well-deserved. And their possession and their play in possession deserved that 1-0 lead at halftime. But after the goal came, after the 28th minute, Sunderland dominated the rest of that half. Let's be honest. Sunderland were much better after the goal went in. And had Sunderland started the game that way, we could have been talking about a different story tonight. But as it happens, Watford were able to get in at halftime at 1-0. That was, to me, the most important thing. My keys to this game in the pre-match, as I told people who were watching on the pre-match, was 3 things. 1, play proactive football. We did that in the first half. We played proactive football. We really did set the tone with our possession and our aggressiveness. Point number 2 of my keys to the game for Watford was to also not concede early and keep yourself switched on in that first half. They did that, got to halftime without conceding. I thought that was very important mentally for their confidence off the back of what they did against Manchester City in the second half. They were brilliant defensively, I think, in that game. And so they carried that over. They carried over that clean sheet of the second half against City into the first half of this game. They did that. And then my third key of the game is play together as a team. And they did that. They played together as a team, and they moved the ball faster than they had done as they grew in confidence. But they did hold on defensively. Defensively was the part of that playing together as a team that I really emphasized in the pre-match. And they did in the first half. They weathered the storm, played well defensively, and they were able to get in with a clean sheet. Second half, they were sloppy. Let's be fair. Second half, they should have been had right from the opening whistle of that second half. They were very fortunate. They got away with it for that minute and a half. And then 2.5 minutes after that, they didn't get away with it. Sloppy again. Goal went in. Sunderland deserved that because they had pressed and bossed the game for that last 15 minutes of the first half into that second half. They bossed the game there. And then from there, I think a lot of us as Watford fans were very nervous. And we weren't seeing where that, as David pointed out, we weren't really seeing where that second goal was going to come from. And even though I predicted it would be a 2-1 win before the game started, I predicted Watford 2, Sunderland 1. Even I admitted to myself that it might be a tough go to get this goal. And then when they got it, I thought, well, we are on to something here. And then Watford played good fundamental football, despite some sloppy things, as David pointed out about Porteous. Didn't like him in their right wing back at all. I didn't think he had a very good game coming off the bench. But look, we are thin here without Sierralta, so you know that there's going to be mixing and matching done. Clev's subs were good again, though. Can't complain there. I thought Ince, even though he didn't razzle and dazzle after the great goal he scored on Tuesday, I thought he was very instrumental. He made some key plays, some key blocks, key interceptions, made himself useful. He was a presence. He didn't do a whole lot going forward, but I thought there were little things he did in other areas of the pitch that I think gave Watford some comfort, some leadership out there. Sissoko, of course, as I've talked about, was brilliant today. He'd be my man of the match, and I think Barr would be a close second for me. And I like the discipline of the team overall today. I like the shape of the team. If anybody wants to talk more about that or anything else with Watford, please hit the request button, or you can comment in the comment section of this one. I will be more than happy to read out what you have to say about this game. Watford 2, Sunderland 1. This was a must-win for Watford, I felt. I said this last week after the terrible game that we had against Norwich. I thought that this was a must-win for us, and we've got a very difficult stretch here again. As I said, Preston Wednesday, and next Saturday, Watford at home against that other side that Sunderland hates so much. That would be Middlesbrough. In fact, Sunderland just beat Middlesbrough last week, I think it was. But the bottom line is we've got these 3 very difficult games, and if you really could make a case, the game after that is pretty tough as well against our bitter rivals up the road. That will be a Saturday afternoon after the All-Star break, a 12:30 kickoff. You know who I'm talking about. That is away at the doggy kennel. That's where they will be going after the Middlesbrough game. But these are a stretch of games now. In fact, the game after that against Leeds, if I'm guilty of looking too far ahead, they got a game against Leeds as well after that at Elland Road on a Tuesday. That's a brutal stretch. I've got to tell you, Watford in the middle of a 6 or 7 match brutal run. They've got Preston Wednesday. They've got Saturday against Middlesbrough at home. Then they're away after the international break, of course, where they go to the doggy kennel up the street. And then they've got Elland Road to visit 3 days later on a Tuesday. And then they've got a Saturday kickoff at 12:30 in the afternoon on the 26th against Blackburn. That's not easy stuff. Blackburn right near the top of the table right now. And I'll read out the table as we stand here after these games. West Brom on the top on 16. Sunderland second on 15. Blackburn Rovers, it looks like they are third. So that's Blackburn Rovers. We've got to play them in a few weeks' time. And they are third. Burnley on fourth on 14. Leeds on 14. Sheffield United, as you'd expect, on 13. Watford on 13 in 7th place. So there we are. We are +2 in the goal difference. And we are right there, right there. That's a good stand after 7 games for us. That was a quality win, even though it wasn't necessarily the best performance. But look, I got carried away there. Not necessarily the best performance of the season, but I think fundamentals-wise, I think we showed a lot of maturity today for the most part. I thought the lads were switched on, except for that moment early in the second half. But I think Clevs will be pleased with the way that they applied themselves, pleased in the sense that we progressed from the game the other day after going in that game in the second half, holding City goalless. I mean, that's just really good. To hold Man City scoreless second half, not many teams do that. And so we built off of that in the second half of this game, in the first half of this game as well, I should say, we kept two separate halves of clean sheets. But that second half of this game, we did not manage to do that. But I want to read out your YouTube comments. Matt, you've been patient with your comment. Thank you. Come on then, says Matt. That's what we like to see on YouTube. Thank you, Matt, for that. Jack, what a great game, says Jack. Jack, thank you very much on YouTube for that. I think it was a great game. I mean, despite the fact that Watford were uneven at times, to be fair, I still think that they did well in the game, applying the fundamentals. I think they kept their shape defensively. Sunderland were very good. They dug in their heels, Sunderland. You can see how well organized that manager has them. That out ball is very effective for them. They were having a lot of joy down that left flank, down the right flank particularly as well. I thought that what they did very well was that ball that went across the back post, and they had about 4 opportunities where the ball sailed. Really good ball delivery from the set pieces that went just to the back post. One of them just eluded the head of one of the Sunderland players. If one of them Sunderland players could have got on the end of them balls, it would have been game, set, match, I think, in this thing. But they thankfully did not. And Watford held on and then scored the goal. TDB's penalty, by the way, let's talk about that for a moment. It was really strange, TDB's penalty for me. It reminded me a bit of what Ivan Toney does so well. He might have taken one from Tony's book there, because Tony kind of had that slow run up and then he kind of lashes it in with one foot. And it seemed as if, to me, that time stood still when TDB took that penalty. The ball seemed to take an age before it rolled into the back of the net. And for a split second there, I thought that the goalkeeper had got to it for a split second. But thankfully, when the ball nudged past him and rippled into the back of the net, I was thankfully proven wrong, as Watford got the all-important game winner. TDB has scored a penalty or two before. He scored one in a really important cup game last season, and I think he scored one earlier this season as well, if I'm not mistaken. I know he definitely scored. He scored a tap. That was a tap-in goal, I think, against, I think it might have been Derby or against Coventry, whichever one. But he scored before this season. That's his second goal of the season, the designated penalty taker, TDB, with the penalty kick in, I think, the 82nd or 83rd minute, whatever it was. Watford get a very important win here. I'm going to read out your comments. So if you've got some to make on X, or if you'd like to make a comment by the audio, hit the request button, folks. It's great to see you all here on You ORNS on post-match. Great to have you aboard on YouTube live at the You ORNS WFC YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, here on X, lovely to have you aboard, fellow Watford supporters. It's been a good week for Watford. You know, yeah, we got knocked out the cup, but I thought the performance second half, especially against City, was very good. Against City side today that drew. So Watford today have been very good. Good week for Watford. The new mural came up. The Muir Walls mural at the Watford High Street. Tremendous mural that is. And they took them just 5 days to do that, celebrating the 1999 team, of course, that got to Wembley against Bolton, got promoted in that playoff final under Graham Taylor. And Watford won that game 3-0, if I remember correctly, that day against Bolton. And so Watford have had a good week. Georgie signed his contract, 5 years extension for him, and that takes him to 2029. Georgie today was energetic, but not his best game. But he still was very distinctive, as he always is. He has the same usual flair, but I don't think he quite had that final ball in him today. But Georgie making an impact, as he always does, but not his best game today. I thought the two standouts for me were Sissoko, who brought that leadership, was really alert today, alive, back to his best. And I also thought that, obviously, Quadwell Barr was a massive factor in the game as well. You could call him the man of the match. He won the penalty for you. TDB, obviously, you could make a case for him as well. I thought TDB was good, scored the winning goal, of course, from the penalty spot. The nerves of TDB, the maturity of TDB is what really pleases me. I really think that he's grown in leaps and bounds. Very sensible lad, sensible player. Also, really good football from him throughout the game today. I liked what he did on the pitch. I also thought that, again, the effectiveness of Barr was a massive factor. The substitution patterns were very important. Clev's got that right. He had the triple change. Bio came off. You had Jefferson come on. Jefferson didn't do a lot in front of goal, but I thought he was very active. I liked his running. I thought Ince was very good as well with his running. One of the things I thought was really good today was the way Watford pressed the game. Their press was smart today. They used it sparingly, but they used it at the right moments, and it really brought forth a lot of energy in the side. I thought what you saw today, Watford fans, from start to finish, was really good intensity from the side. They did flag. I think David talked about that earlier. He was quite right about that. Watford were flagging at moments, but I thought the overall energy and the collective energy of the side was good today. Very healthy energy from the lads. Really like that from the team. You love to see it. I want to read out your comments. I think my Australian neighbors woke up screaming for the penalty. Oh, let me say that again. Jack, and that would be you, JB. Jack Boddington, thank you for joining me on YouTube. Jack says, I think I woke my Australian neighbors. I think I woke my Australian neighbors up screaming for the penalty. Laughing emoji there from Jack. Good to see you, Jack, here live on YouTube. For those of you on X, thank you very much indeed for being here. If you want to have your say Watford fans, whether you're on X or whether you are on YouTube, please hit the request button on X. Would love to hear from you, as David has done earlier. If you have any comments to make on YouTube or on X, you can make those as well. I will read them out. Matt on YouTube says the following: as soon as we took Bio off and there seemed to be a few more runs in the box, for me, Bio really didn't take his chance as well as he should have, but Bar's run to win the penalty was amazing. Absolutely, Matt. Got to talk more about what Matt just said there. For those of you listening or watching, Bar came in the game. He had been in the game maybe 10 minutes, if that, and he made this sensational run in from one end to the other and then got clearly tripped in the box. Blatant penalty, stonewall. Referee pointed the spot. He had no choice. And by the way, there was no Sunderland complaints about that. It was a sloppy challenge. And Bar went down like a ton of bricks, as he should have, because it was a clear foul in the box, pen, stonewall. And so Bar, with that run, electrified the crowd, electrified the game, gave Watford that burst of energy that I think they did lack a little bit, despite the fact I thought energetically they were fairly consistent in the energy department, but there were moments where they flagged. We've got to be honest about that. But Bar was the electricity that we needed in that second half, because Sunderland were dominating us, quite frankly, with the possession, in the movement. Sunderland had much more life to them. They looked much more threatening, and they had a lot more energy. And this is the fact that they didn't make a change in this game, Sunderland, until the 73rd minute, which is hard to believe for a team like that. Obviously, they seemed a bit more fit than we were. I think that was a point that David made earlier. But look, we did play against City in midweek, and that's a tricky trip to make. I know Sunderland came from all the way up northeast, so I really shouldn't make an excuse out of that. But Sunderland was sharp today in the second half, particularly after we scored the goal. Sunderland took over the game. But again, I thought Watford in the footballing fundamentals department were better. I think they were better for the most part than they had been, I should say, over the last couple of weeks. This was a very important win. It will do a lot for Watford's confidence. They go into the game now Wednesday against Preston North End with at least that win under their caps, knowing that they can push themselves even closer to the playoffs and into that lot if they were to get 3 points against Preston. And so you've got to be proud of the performance, at least proud that they got the 3 points. None of these things is going to be easy this season. Sunderland, who come in here, high-flying team, we really did get a very important win here. That's going to give the lads a lot more confidence. We are injury hit at the moment, a number of players out. Festi did a good job scoring the goal as well. Can't forget him. He was very good, I thought. He came off, and then Watford found another gear and got the goal, and Bar was the electricity spark that has really been the difference. Larouci today, he was busy, but he didn't really do the kinds of things he usually does. I maintain Larouci's better coming off the bench than he is starting these games, but the manager has obviously a different view of that. But yeah, Bar's run, Matt, was terrific. Thanks, Matt, for the comment there on YouTube. He was fantastic, Bar. I think you picked from those two players, either Bar or Sissoko, for your man of the match. Really would love to know who you think the man of the match is today. Make your comment known if you wish, or if you'd like to get on the horn on X, hit that request button and tell us who you thought the man of the match was for the Golden Boys today. It's the 3 points in the bag. against a big team, against Sunderland like this. I think that's a really good statement win for Watford, despite what you might think of the performance. I thought our discipline was generally good, despite that moment early in the second half. And again, the keys to this game, as I said, Watford being proactive in their football in the first half. I thought they needed to be proactive to win this game. And as I said, before the game on pre-match, I predicted it would be a 2-1 Watford win. And I got that spot on today. So it was good that that happened. I would have loved for us to get the clean sheet instead. But look, you can take what you get with this performance today. It's something to build on, considering that we played midweek against City. I thought that this was really good. We lost 2-1 there. We won 2-1 today. This is what happens in football. A good week for Watford all in all. Got to be very pleased with the way Watford applied themselves from the start, not conceding. I also predicted that they wouldn't concede in the first 5 minutes of the game, and I was right about that as well. They didn't concede the whole half. You have to go back a few games now. Might be the game against Stoke, the last time we didn't concede in a whole half of football at the Vic. I mean, I think that's the game that we in fact, that might be the first time we've not conceded in any game in the first half since then. So, because we conceded in a load of games in the first half. Remember, the last 5, if you include the City game, the last 5 contests before today, we conceded the first 5 minutes. That did not happen today, and I'm very happy about that. But you've got to be pleased about the way this team came together. This is an injury-hit team. We don't have Kevin Kebben yet. We'll get him later. We don't have Sierralta. He'll be out for a few more weeks. We don't have Ngaki. He's supposed to be back in training in the next week or two. We don't have, I can go down the list of all the players we don't have. No Daniel Bachmann in the side. Johnny Bond, you've got to give him a shout today. Johnny Bond, I thought, was good in goal. There was one poor kick where it went straight to a Sunderland player. But I think Johnny Bond did a decent job. He kept us in this game when it was really tight. He made some good saves second half, good saves first half with a good save over the crossbar. I thought Johnny Bond got the angles correct today in goal. Listen, this is his first championship start for us in ages. Of course, remember when he was with us before, he played plenty of games as the starting keeper, but this was his first championship start in his second tour of duty for us. And you've got to be pleased at the way he applied himself. He got the angles correct in goal. There was a header off his opposite number, and he was right there for that one in the set piece. But I thought Bondy was really, really good today. Made important saves. Commanded his box well. Most of the distributions were good except for that one, but no complaints for me. I thought otherwise he was really good. If you want to have your say, we'll go for 5 more minutes here before I turn things over to the Instagram group, who are dying to get on, I'm sure. I will solve this riddle one day of having 3 platforms up at once. I do promise that I'll do that before the season's over. I do promise that. But Watford today, get the win. I'll read out more of your comments there, more of the comments, your man of the match comments as well. Jack says, I was questioning the subs at first, but I suppose it worked out at the end. Yeah, it did in the end, Jack. From Down Under. Nice to see you, Jack. Thank you very much for the comment on YouTube. It did work out. Cleverly has pushed every button correctly for me this season. You might quibble about last week. A number of Watford fans, some of us thought that the tactics were a little bit wrong last week. Against Norwich, maybe. But still, I thought that overall, I just thought the team didn't play well last week and our defending was awful. Tactics or not, I just think that, look, sometimes the manager can be held responsible for that, not getting the tactics right, getting out coached. That's a good point that people make. But I think that it was not the coaching or the tactics that were the problem last week. I thought it was more the fact that the players just didn't play well. Just didn't turn up for the game. Just didn't really turn up for that contest, and Norwich deserved to win. I think this might be the first result this season that we've had where we probably say, wow, I don't know that we did deserve to win the game, because Sunderland on balance played a lot better than us second half. But you know what? It does take 1 or 2 moments of quality to win games in this championship. And bar was it today. And I'll read out your comments. Someone has alluded to that here on YouTube, but I'm going to, with the 3 minutes we have left with the listeners, before I go to Instagram, I want to read out more of your comments. Everybody is chiming in on YouTube, however. Here's what Philip Mason says on YouTube. Thanks for the comment, Philip. When you're on top as much as we were in the first half, then adding to the score is essential. Otherwise, you're at risk in the second half, as we were here. Luckily managed to win it, but just, says Philip. Thank you, Philip, on YouTube for your comment. And I agree with you. A game like this was always going to be tricky. I said just as much on the YouTube pre-match. I said exactly, and on you and on Instagram as well. I said that this is going to be a very difficult game, tricky game. Sunderland were going to be a very tricky team, but I thought that Watford were going to win. I was very confident about that. I gave you my prediction of a 2-1 scoreline, and I got that absolutely spot on. So I will brag and boast about that for a bit longer here today. But I just had a really good feeling about them. And the reason why is because of what they did at City. You go to the champions of Europe, they were the champions of Europe a couple of seasons ago. You go to the champions of England and equip yourself like that at the Etihad, especially the second half. And, Watford were a post or two away from winning that game against, let's be honest. I know City did a lot with their possession, but they had the possession but didn't do a lot with it, I should say. But we came within a whisker of taking them to penalties. I mean, that's a good thing. And granted, I know they lost Rodri for the season, all the rest of it, but their B team is better than any team on the planet, basically. And they put their B team out there, although they did play a lot of their A team, and they still were literally a few moments away from being taken to penalties. And I think that the confidence out of that game really was going to propel the lads today against a very strong Sunderland side. And so that's why I was very confident today that Watford would pull this off, and they did. Thank you very much again, Philip, for your comment. Here's what Billy Hughes had to say. Billy, nice to see you here on YouTube. I know that you do the Instagram beat as well, and we'll be on Instagram here in the next minute or two. Billy Hughes says the following: I told you last week Tom was having a chat with the boys. Stand behind the team, and this is what they do. I think you did say, I do remember that, Billy, from you. I was not very happy about the way Watford played the game. I definitely do stand behind these lads, come thick or thin, and I will certainly be very vocal, winning or losing as I am, about this club that I love so dearly, as we all do, listening to this and watching this right now. Always will stand behind these lads, and definitely do that, come thick or come thin, come hell or high water, a very infamous phrase being lobbied about here as we go along on You ORNS post-match on YouTube. My man of the match says Matt has to be Sissoko. His through balls were perfect. It was just Bayo wasn't quick enough to get onto them. Yep, my man of the match too would be Moussa Sissoko. After a game or two where he'd been subpar, I thought he was excellent today, back to his very best. This is the Sissoko that we know and love. His leadership today was unparalleled on that pitch. He helped people out. He ran box to box. I thought that he was a great distributor in the middle of the park. He kept it really solid. Sunderland had to really find the channels around him and long balls. I thought that a lot of that was down to Sissoko, really tight there in midfield. And I think that with his energy, I think we did get the balance right in midfield today. And Sissoko was the major reason why. Superb stuff. And Matt, your comments well taken. His through balls were excellent. I thought he had good discipline defensively too. You noticed, Matt, and to everyone else watching and listening, when he would come and step in across the back line to protect the defense, and he would stick that ball. He would hold onto the ball. He had some really good hold-up moments, good hold-up play in front of the back three as well. That gives the back three a hell of a lot of confidence as well. And Sissoko was the main reason for that. So there we go. That is it for those of you on X. Thank you very much indeed for listening on X. We will say goodbye for you on X. And again, thank you very much for listening. You can join me on X in the future. Of course, find You ORNS WFC on X at You ORNS WFC. And of course, on the YouTube channel. We'll continue on YouTube now. But for those of you on X, thanks very much. The final score was Watford 2, Sunderland 1. Until Wednesday against Preston, I'm Omar saying, You ORNS. Take care. For those of you on X, have a very good evening. And that is it for X, but we are still here on YouTube, and we'll be joining folks on Instagram in just a few short moments' time. We'll go for about maybe 10 or 15 more minutes because, of course, there's lots more football to watch and to talk about. But look, here we are, fellow Watford supporters. Thank you so very much indeed for joining me here, Omar, on YouTube on You Orns Post Match. We're going to join those of you on Instagram in just a few seconds' time. I will continue to read your comments when we go live now on Instagram. It is You Orns Extra on Instagram live across the world on You Orns WFC on Instagram and here live on YouTube. Fellow Watford fans, get on the horn and have your say with your comments. I will read them out. Harrison has joined us. Thank you, Harrison, on YouTube. Holly Louise, welcome aboard. Great to see you again. Thank you, Holly Louise, for coming in on Instagram. The Instagrammers are here and they have joined in full force. Dan Atkins has joined us. Huey has joined us as well. All of you live on Instagram. A video request is coming in as well from Huey, and let's go live to it. You won't be able to see that on YouTube, but we will try to get this done here on Instagram. Bar will tear you apart again. Jack Boddington has joined us as well. Harvey Smith has joined us. Let's go with Jerry Hughes live. Let's see if we can get him. Unfortunately, so far, that has not materialized yet. And let's see if we can actually get him. But Joe Jesus joined us. I'll read your comments out. Holly Louise says, very happy for the Horns today. And absolutely, we are. Thank you, Holly Louise, for the comment. Absolutely delighted. This has been a good week for Watford. Holly, as you know, obviously we lost the game against City, but I thought we were very good, especially second half. Brilliant defending from our second half in that game. Georgie signed his 5-year extension. That was really good. Of course, Watford, the new mural has gone up from Muir Walls, has put an excellent mural in the 1999 team, I should say, in that playoff final against Bolton when we got promoted under Graham Taylor. Brilliant stuff. It's been a good week for Watford, and then we get the win today, capping off a brilliant week. I think this is a very good week. It was the only win that we had in September, but thank God we ended the month, Holly Louise, with a win, because we had gone winless for the whole month. But that's, look, listen, they're not going to really pay too much attention to that now, but I just did. So Watford get the only win of September, and they picked the right time to do it right before the end of the month, September the 28th. And of course, we're back on Tuesday. I think is it the third? Wait a minute. Tuesday is what, the first? Wednesday, the 2nd of October. Pardon me. Wednesday, the 2nd of October will be the next game for us. I'm very happy as well, Louise, for this win. We did what we had to do to get over the line. I thought the keys to the game today were 3 things. I mentioned them on the pre-match here on Instagram, is that we had to be proactive with our football. We could not afford to play reactive football today, Holly Louise, and we didn't. We went proactive. That's one of the keys I had for the game. The other key I had for the game is not to concede in the first 5 minutes, and I predicted that they would not, and they absolutely did not concede in the first 5 minutes of the game. In fact, they didn't concede the first half. And also, we had to play together as a team and be switched on and do the footballing fundamentals. And we did all 3 of those things and still won this game. Those are my keys. I predicted a 2-1 scoreline for those of you who watched here earlier on You Orns Extra, on You Orns pre-match on both Instagram and YouTube. Predicted a Watford 2-1 victory, and I got that spot on. And I'm going to boast about that for the rest of this evening as we go here live from San Francisco, California, where it is awfully foggy. Oh my gosh, it's very foggy today. But that is how it goes here in sunny San Francisco, because it was very hot here yesterday and a few days ago. But I do hope the weather is good wherever you are across the world. Obviously, it was sunny at the Vic today, and the sun is shining in every Watford fan's heart now, because Watford got the job done. 2-1. Jack Boddington says, what an exceptional game. It was a very good game. I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm going to read some more comments this time on YouTube. Thank you for patiently waiting on YouTube as I read out more of the comments. Matt says my man of the match has to be Sissoko, and I did read that out. Thank you, Matt, for the comment. Brown Electrons, Bar is different gravy. Absolutely right. Quadwell Bar. I mean, you could really make a case for him being the man of the match. As for you on Instagram, I would say to you as fellow Watford fans, my man of the match was Musa Sissoko. I would love for you to tell me who your man of the match was today for the Golden Boys as they win by a score of 2-1. We'll be doing this for about maybe 5 more minutes or so. For some reason, we could not get Huey up to join us. Jerry Hughes was going to join us by video link on Instagram, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, the technology gremlins have got the best of us there. So I'm going to read out the rest of your comments. And Brown Electrons, thank you, Brown, for that comment about Bar. Brown continues with this on YouTube. I've been quite impressed with Ince. Holds it well, tracks back, and gets stuck in. Last season, thought he would have gone before this season started. Yeah, I did too, Brown. I thought the same thing. I really thought that he was going to be a goner, but they gave him a 2-year deal. Who knew? I was a little bit critical of that, Brown, before they gave that, when they gave that deal. Thank you, Sills. Hello to you. Good to see you. Finley has joined us. Finley 1881. Great to see you as well on Instagram as we join live with the folks on YouTube. Great to see you all after a Watford 2-1 victory. I predicted exactly this scoreline and they got it done. I am very happy about that. But Brown, I think your point on YouTube is well taken. He has been good, in very quiet ways. Someone on Insta this morning in the pre-match this afternoon, I should say this morning here, but pre-match this afternoon in the UK suggested whether Ince should start. But I said to the person at the time, Brown, that Ince should come off the bench, and I think he's going to play a role in this game today. And he did. He come on. He was subbed on as part of the triple change, and he played a role in the game. I think he did the little things correct. And he wasn't a world beater in front of goal like he was the other night, but he did the small things that really get overlooked in football matches. And Brown, he did a good job today in the small things that he did, the blocks, the clearances. He did. Remember, he cleared the ball off the line against City the other night before he scored in the second half. So, Tom Ince, leader, veteran player, had an up and down season last season. He can score you a goal of quality. We saw that on Tuesday. And he can do the little things for you as well. And he did that right and did them very well today. He's a good shout out there, Brown. Thank you very much for that. I think that's a good point that Brown makes on YouTube, because I think that Tom Ince is one of the silent leaders of this team. He's matured. He has become the kind of player who can do the small things for you in footballing terms, for the footballing fundamentals. And you have to like what you saw today from Tom Ince. Jack Boddington speaks about Tom Ince in his comment here on Instagram, and he says the following: Tom Ince has been incredible, but I like him only coming off the bench rather than starting. Yeah, I'm with you there, Jack. JB on Instagram, and I know you were with us on YouTube a few moments ago. Thanks for switching back to Instagram. I agree with you, Jack. I do think that Tom Ince is better coming off the bench. I know he started the game. If I'm not mistaken, he started the game against City the other night, but he's better coming off the bench in the Championship these days as a player who is getting up there, if you will, for lack of a kinder way to put it. Ince is much more useful when he's playing off the bench. He reads the situations pretty well. Sometimes it seems as if he doesn't do anything on the pitch, and there are times where he really doesn't you don't see what he does. But then there's a lot of other times like today, JB, where he does do the little things that make a big difference on the pitch. I saw that with City, where he cleared the ball off the line. That was more than a little thing. That was a crucial thing. And then he scored the other end. And Ince gives you that kind of quality. He really does. Ince is a very smart, sharp player. I think there were a number of lads today that were very sharp and smart. Bob was very sharp and smart today as well. He always is. He has a real keen instinct for playing proactive football, and I loved how he did that today. The team, they were moments where Sunderland did have the upper hand, but what I really loved today was the way that these lads performed under pressure when it seemed as if they were going to be going into a game where they could probably have lost this game last season. But I thought that their tenacity was very good. Their aggressiveness on the ball was very good. The energy level for Watford, even though it flagged a bit at times in the second half, in the first half, the energy level was really, really strong. They were harrying Sunderland. They really did, I think, smother Sunderland very well first half. So you really can't complain about those things. I think they did a very, very good job, I think, in the footballing fundamentals department. The only problem today was the early part of that second half. They were very lucky not to concede literally right from the starting whistle in that second half. They were very lucky not to concede. And then their luck ran out on that, of course, in the next couple of minutes after, because 3 or 4 minutes later they did concede, and a very kind of sloppy goal. I mean, it was a good finish from the player Isidore, but Watford really put themselves in that position with some very sloppy defending. But the bottom line is that we were resilient today. We could have dropped our heads today after that. We did all the work we had to do to get the 1-0 lead, and then we gave it up literally within 3 or 4 minutes of the second half. So in the second half, they conceded the first 5 minutes. So if you want to be really technical, Watford have now extended that streak to 6 games where they've conceded in the first 5 minutes of a half. I mean, do we really want to do that today? I really should not do that today. I couldn't resist. But look, the bottom line is this is a happy recap today for Watford. I should get the yellow glasses out, actually. Put them on, the yellow eyeglasses, but we'll see about how that goes. But Watford today got the win. Good character after a Sunderland side that were second in the table, were giving Watford some problems, but Watford dug in. The subs were good. Bar came in and really was electric. So Matt got the prediction correct as well on YouTube. So that's 2 of us. Matt says, I got the prediction right as well. I knew it would be a tough game, but we never gave up even when Sunderland was on the press and making the whole team have to defend. Thank you very much, Matt. Glad you too got the prediction correct as well. So that makes 2 of us here on You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live, and also here on You ORNS Post-Match on YouTube. So just a couple more minutes before we do go. I think today there's a lot of positives, despite the fact that we, again, we had some moments of flagging energy. But I think there's lots of positives to take out the game. Festi, I thought, was a really good presence in this first championship start. Ogbonna, his first championship start, I thought he was very solid in the middle, provides the leadership at the back that Watford desperately need. He's an anchor. I really liked the way he anchored that defense today. I thought James Morris did really well. We've had some criticisms, certainly, of James Morris, but I thought he was very competent today. I think he played the whole game, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think that James Morris did a decent job today on that left side of that middle three, look, Morris has not been great in a lot of these games, but today I think considering the opponent, he did well. He had to deal a lot with Patrick Roberts, who was a terror down that side. I was very surprised he was taken off. Very, very surprised indeed. Chris Brearley joins us. Hello, Chris, on Instagram. You have joined us on You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live, and also on YouTube as well, live here. We'll go for a few more minutes. Hello there, Chris, who says hello, Omar. Thank you, Chris, for your hello. Really appreciate that. I'm sure you are very pleased about the result today. Thoughts on Vata and his role at the club going forward? Thank you, Jack Boddington, for that, asking me that on Instagram. I think that Vata's got a future here. I think he is going to be a player who's going to be making some differences for Watford, coming off the bench a bit more, I think, as the season goes on. I think that what they're going to do is just bed him in that way, JB from Australia. I think that they will begin to put him in these games. Obviously, if there are any injuries, heaven forbid that we have any more of those, he'll play a larger role. But I think for now, what you're going to see from Vata much of this season is him coming off the bench, getting his feet wet, getting more confident, and having an effect on the game. And usually in the last 20 minutes, that's where I think Rocco is going to be for this team for the bulk of this season. And I know that Watford are famously conservative with their sense of using young players in big game situations, but I don't think they should be conservative with Rocco, quite frankly. I think Vata should be starting some of these games, especially when you've got what we've got this stretch of this next week. The game we came through today, and then the game we've got Wednesday, and then the game we got Saturday. That's when you should be putting Rocco to start one of these games. But I don't think, Jack, that Cleves is going to do that. I think he's going to keep Vata on the bench. I think Vata's really good, and I think that he's got some great potential. So that is where I stand with him. Oh, Chris is in the Red Lion. Oh, raise a glass for me, mate. All right there, Chris. Having some fun at the Red Lion across the street from the Vic. Oh, the Red Lion. I freaking love that place, mate. Have a pint for me there, Chris. Thank you very much for talking about that. They're in the Red Lion, living it up right now. We might do a quiz. Actually, we're going to do a quiz. Chris, who is probably getting a lot of pints in at the Red Lion from Vicarage Road. That is great. You should call us in. Call in, Chris. Come on, let's do a live video, mate. Oh, love that. That would be a great one from the Red Lion to San Francisco. That would be a great live hookup. If you can make it happen, Chris, let's see what we can do. But I'm sure you're celebrating, have a good time at the Red Lion. Say hello to everybody at the Red Lion from yours truly here in San Francisco, California. Chris, great to have you with us. And yes, we'll do a contest. We'll do a quiz. So for those of you watching on YouTube and on Instagram, we're going to do a quiz. But before I do that, let me read out the rest of these comments on YouTube. Brown Electrons has given us his comments. Matt says, I got the prediction right. I read that one. And Morris did indeed play the full 90 minutes. I thought so. Thank you, Matt, for the confirmation of that. But now we're going to do one competition and one only on both You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live and for those of you watching right here on YouTube on the You ORNS post-match show. And this is how the quiz works. We're going to do something that I don't think we've done, but maybe once before here this season. We're going to do this across both platforms. Now, the first question is going to be called a preliminary question, which means that you don't have to get it right in a certain amount of time. You just have to get it correct at some point, and you'll have unlimited time. You can look up the answer if you wish, but the first person to get the answer correct, and especially spelled correctly, since you have a chance to look it up, will be the person I will then call on and ask 3 questions of. And those 3 questions, if you get all 3 of those questions right, you will end up being the winner of a prize that I will be sending to you through the post. I won't tell you what the prize will be beforehand. You will just find it in your post in several weeks' time. But you've got to get 3 questions correct. But first, here we go. And thank you very much, Peter Hopwood, for joining as well. We've joined us just in time, Peter, for the quiz. And this is going to be on YouTube and Instagram. The first person who comes up with the correct answer on my screens, I've got both screens here. The first correct answer on either YouTube or on Instagram will be the person I ask the 3 questions of. You've got all the time in the world to answer this question, and it's a really, really easy question. Name me one of the Watford players who had his championship debut today with the club. Name me one of the Watford players who had his championship debut today with the club. This is a really easy one. You better get the answer correct and have it spelled correctly. The first person who has the correct answer and the correct spelling who comes up on my screen here, it is correct. That is correct. Festi Ebicelli, Peter Hopwood out of the gate. Whoa, that was record time. Peter, that is an excellent, excellent answer. You are correct. That would be Festi Ebicelli with his debut start in the championship for Watford. That is correct. You could have also said Angelo Ogbonna, but Ebicelli, Festi Ebicelli is correct. Got the answer correct, got it spelled correct. And so the quiz questions go to Mr. Peter Hopwood on Instagram. The rest of you will have to take a seat as I ask Peter these very important questions about Watford. Now, here we go. 3 questions. Congratulations, Peter, for being the person that has a chance to win a Watford prize here. We've not had a winner in at least a year now, if not more than a year. And so good luck, Peter, with these. This is going to be a very fair quiz. I'm going to give you 7 seconds because of the delay in time. I know there's been a complaint about that as far as some of the fans are concerned because we're in different parts of the world, and I'm here in the United States, and there is a time lag. So I have adjusted to that by giving an extra second. So you'll have 7 seconds rather than 6 to correctly get the answer to these questions right. And so that is what I will give you as Peter is in here calling us from Croatia. So that could account for, certainly that will be a delay. Croatia to the United States, definitely a considerable distance. And so maybe 6,000 miles, maybe 5,000 or 6,000. It's probably about 6,500 miles away from maybe even more than that, perhaps 6,000 or 7,000 miles. So we will see if we can get this correct. And there is indeed a competition, Chris. And right now, Peter Hopwood is the person charged with answering these questions. So we'll do one more quiz, Holly Louise, after this. So for Chris and Holly Louise, we will do a second quiz. So you will all have a chance. But this first quiz is Peter's because he correctly got the first preliminary question right. We will have a second quiz. So hold on tight, both Chris and Holly Louise, as we will do a second quiz for those of you on Instagram and on YouTube. Peter, I hope you are ready. Here are the rules, Peter, for this quiz. You have 7 seconds to get the correct answer. If your answer does not show up on my screen, that's the key. Got to show up on my screen here in San Francisco. Even if people elsewhere in the world see your answer before I do, doesn't matter, because I'm the one administering the quiz, of course. I've got to see your answer in the first 7 seconds. If I don't see your answer, if your answer does not come up on my screen in these first 7 seconds, then of course the quiz is over. That's it. That is the quiz. If you get the wrong answer, the quiz is over. If you don't answer in time, the quiz is over. And so I will be a bit more lenient on the spelling here because you're under time pressure. So even if you spell the correct answer wrong, I will still give you credit for getting the answer correct because now you're under time pressure. So I think that is all of the rules here. So remember, the answer has to come up on my screen here in San Francisco. Even if people who are in the UK see your answer first, it doesn't matter. If it's not come up on my screen yet, still, that's the issue. That's what's got to happen. So, Peter, you are clear on the rules. Thank you, Peter, for that. And here is your first question, Peter. Question number 1 is this. I want you to name me the year that Graham Taylor last got Watford promoted. No help, please. Peter, you got 7 seconds for this. The year that Graham Taylor last got Watford promoted. 7, 6, 5. No, that's the wrong answer. Oh my gosh. Peter, I'm sorry. 1997 is incorrect. The last year that Graham Taylor got Watford promoted was 1999. Peter, very good try. I'm sorry, but you have to sit out the second quiz. But that is a good effort. You were very close, but I'm going to give you the answer. It is 1999. So unfortunately, Peter, good try, but not good enough. Jack Boddington knew the answer. In fact, I gave the answer. I don't know if you were in the room, Pete, but before you came in the room, I actually gave the answer out. So Jack Boddington would have got that right. He said, I only knew that because of the new mural. And I talked about the mural maybe about 5 minutes ago, maybe before you came in the room, Pete. And I did say 1999. So I was like, surely Pete's going to get this right. And unfortunately, I'm sorry, Pete, you did not. And same to Holly Louise. She knew the answer. So again, if only you had a chance to answer it. But I'll tell you, Holly Louise and Jack Boddington and all the rest, you will have a chance now. But you've got to get the preliminary question correct to have the chance to have a crack at this quiz. And again, you have to get the preliminary answer correct. You have to spell the preliminary answer correct as well, because you will have unlimited amounts of time, both on YouTube and on Instagram, to get the correct answer to what is the preliminary question. If you get the preliminary question correct, which is usually a very easy question, to be fair, then you have a crack at the 3 Watford questions that I will ask. If you get any of those questions wrong, then of course the quiz is over. If you fail to answer in time in the 7 seconds, then the quiz is over. And that is basically the rule of the road. It's got to show up on my screen here in California before anything else. Even if it shows up on your screens in the UK, it's got to show up on mine here. And there is a delay, which is why I give 7 seconds for the quiz. But for those of you, everybody except Peter can join in on this quiz on both YouTube and on Instagram. So Holly Louise, you have a chance. Chris, you have a chance. And all the rest of you have a chance as well on both Instagram and here on YouTube. Here we go with the preliminary question. You have unlimited time to answer it. And it goes something like this. I want you to name me the name of the pub that is closest to Vicarage Road. Name me the pub closest to Vicarage Road Stadium. You've got to spell it correctly. This should be a very easy question. First person to give me the correct answer, correctly spelled, will be the person who ends up being on the quiz this time around. Yes, the Red Lion. Yes, Holly Louise came in first. Holly Louise, is over to you. Congratulations. Chris Brearley, who is in the Red Lion, answered as well, but he came up on my screen just a half second after Holly Louise. Wow, that was a really close one there. Holly Louise got in first, so Holly Louise is going to be the person who gets a crack at the quiz. Wow, that was really good. Razor sharp. Chris came in right after that. So Holly Louise, you are absolutely correct. The Red Lion is the pub that's closest to Vicarage Road Stadium, otherwise known as the Vic. And Holly, you have an opportunity now to win a Watford prize. Remember, as I said, you have 3 questions. If you get any of the questions wrong, the quiz is over. If I do not see your answer pop up here, if your answer does not pop up on my screen here in California within 7 seconds, then the quiz is over as well. Even if you get the answer correct, it has to come within the first 7 seconds as I count down. Once I say time's up, that is it. The quiz is over. Best of luck to you, Holly Louise. Thank you indeed. We do hope that you do get this prize. It's been a long time since someone has won, but this is your first question, Holly Louise. Holly Louise, thank you so much for joining here. You'll have 7 seconds to correctly answer this question number 1 about Watford Football Club. What is the name of the team? The name of the team that Watford once beat by a score of 8-0. Name me that team, Holly. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Time is up, Holly. I have not received your answer. Your answer has not shown up on the screen. And because your answer has not shown up, the quiz is over. The answer, unfortunately, is not MK Dons. The team that Watford beat 8-0, and that's Watford women you're talking about. I did say Watford. So actually, although you technically are right, I did not say Watford women. And so because I did not say Watford women, your answer is incorrect. It's very important here to listen to, and you did listen to this, Holly. I'm not saying that you didn't, but I'm saying this more generally to everybody. Very important to listen to the content of the question, because Holly would have been absolutely correct if I said Watford women, because they did beat MK Dons 8-0. But the team that I'm looking for, and I said Watford, so I'm talking the men's team, although I didn't say men, I said Watford. Watford beat Sunderland 8-0. And absolutely right, Jack Boddington. The anniversary of that game was a couple of days ago, and we played Sunderland today. So, Holly, thank you very much. It's a very good try, very good effort, good guess, but Sunderland is the answer that I was looking for. And yeah, I thought that you'd get that, A, because we played Sunderland, and B, because, as Jack Boddington pointed out, the anniversary of that game was literally, I think, yesterday or the day before. And I thought that you would have got that. So, and you're absolutely right, Jack. Luther Blissett had 4 goals that day. That is absolutely correct. In fact, that was a question I was going to ask, but I'm not going to ask it now, of course, because we all know the answer. But if Holly had got that correct, Holly Louise, if you got that correct, I would have asked you about who scored 4 goals that day. But again, Holly, thank you so very much. Yeah, I do wish that Luther Blissett played for us now. I think we'd be going pretty darn well at the minute. We're going pretty well now, but I think we'd be really good, even better, had Luther still had his boots on the pitch for us. But Chris, I've got to say, I'll do one more quiz. This will be the last one, because I know you're in the red line having a good time. So we'll do this one more for Chris. Holly Louise, unfortunately, you won't be able to take part in this last quiz because you took part in this one. Thank you for playing. Unfortunately, you didn't get the answer right, but it was a good guess. Again, thank you. If I had said Watford women, definitely that would have been correct. Thank you, Holly Louise. Really appreciate your time as always on the quiz and for your contributions. Last quiz before going here. Preliminary question, everybody except Holly Louise here. Chris, if you want to do the live video instead, let's do the live video. I'm up for it. Let's go live to Chris Brearley. Send that request in, Chris, and I will patch you in live here. We've got to do that from the Red Lion to San Francisco, California. That is absolutely a great transaction. We will see about that. Hopefully we can make it happen. But let's do the quiz as well. If you want to do a quiz live, let's do that. It's up to you if you like the third quiz. I think we'll do the third quiz. The preliminary question is this one. Let's do this. The first question, the preliminary question is this. Name me the Watford manager who in his first game got a win last season. Fairly easy question. The Watford manager, you got to spell it correctly. The Watford manager who in his first Watford game in charge got a win last season. The key is last season. Which Watford manager and who in his first game in charge got Watford a victory? Correct. Yes, it's correct. It's Val. Absolutely. It's Chris Brearley. You ORNS. Goopy. Great game today indeed. Goopy, you came in just after the last quiz of the day, and it was a great game today. Great game to watch. Watford got the 3 points. I predicted a 2-1 scoreline, and Chris Brearley has got the correct answer in the preliminary quiz questions. If you want to go live on Instagram on the video, I can do that, Chris. We can go live if you like. Jack Bollington, live pub quiz in full effect. So Chris got the answer correct on the preliminary question. Now it is time for these 3 questions. Chris, you know the rules. 7 seconds. I've got to see the answer here in San Francisco. It's got to come up on my screen. No matter who else sees it before I do, it doesn't count. It's got to be on my screen here before 7 seconds is over. If you fail to answer in 7 seconds or before, if you fail to answer before I say time's up, the quiz is over. Obviously, if you get the answer wrong, the quiz is over. Here, good luck to you, Chris. The first of your 3 questions is like this. I want you to tell me, Chris, this one is for you. Tell me, Chris, who was the manager at Watford? Excuse me. Who was the manager at Watford when Watford played in the FA Cup final in 2019? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, no, you got it wrong. Oh, Chris. Oh, it's not Graham Taylor, mate. The manager at Watford when Watford played in the FA Cup final in 2019, Javi Gracia. Oh, Chris, I'm sorry. The quiz is over. Chris's answer was GT, as in Graham Taylor. Then again, my question was, who was the Watford manager when Watford played in the FA Cup final in 2019? That's the key, the year. If I had said 1984, Chris would have been correct. Unfortunately, the answer is Javi Gracia from 2019. That's the key. The key in the question is the year. And if I had said 1984, Chris, you would have been absolutely right. Ironically, if you can see, I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to point to it now. I can't quite point to it. But over there, over my shoulder, you can see the FA Cup final shirt, right? And that is from 1984. Thank you very much, Chris. Unfortunately, not to be. It was indeed Javi Gracia, as I said. Thank you. And hello, Joe, to you. You ORNS. Very good job today, Joe. We got the job done. And I told you it was going to be a 2-1 score. I told you. So we got that right. 2-1 was my prediction, and Watford got it done. And yeah, Chris, too bad you got that wrong. It's too bad. Both of you who've answered the quiz were so close to the answer. You know, again, a lot of the times the secret to these quizzes is listening very carefully to the question. because sometimes the question gives you the answer. Because again, with the question for Holly Louise, I said, who at Watford, when did Watford had an 8-0 win against which team? And I didn't say Watford women. If I had said Watford women, she would have been absolutely correct with her answer. And Chris is telling me that it was so loud inside the red lion that he couldn't hear. Okay, fair enough. That's completely understood. Unfortunately, the bottom line is that that's how it goes. But Chris, it would have been great to see you live on video as well. But listen, drink it up, save a pint for me, and I'm really glad that you're at the Red Lion having some fun. Lovely pub, really love the Red Lion. It's been around for a long time. Yeah, good prediction, Omar. Yep, thank you, Joe, for that. Absolutely right. Hello to you, Tracy. Nice to see you aboard here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've had 3 quizzes. Your comments, all of you on YouTube, thank you. Your comments on Instagram are welcome. We'll go for another couple of minutes here. We may have a video request coming. So Tracy, thank you very much. Holly, hello to you as well. We'll do video requests. I think there is one now. Huey and Chris, Brearley, can we get you on live? Can we get you on live? We'd love to have you. Come on then. Let's have you. Let's have you aboard. Really trying. We're going to get you all on here. Can we get you all on? And Holly as well, Holly Louise. We'd love to get you all on for the live here. We're doing a really good job, I think, of getting a lot of participation today on the Yay! Yay! Hey! Hello, Holly Louise! We are live. How are you today?
Good. I'm playing EAFC 25.
All right. How are you doing on that?
We're doing all right.
Good.
Watford at top of the league.
Hey, top the league.
We beat Sunderland 10-0.
Sweet. Love it. I love it. It's good to see you, Holly. Thank you so much, Holly Louise.
We played right. Tactically, we played well. Kayembe looks out of shape. Bear in mind, he's just come back from injury. But I would have rested him for Preston away on Tuesday. That's my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
Harry, it won't work.
Absolutely.
It won't turn on.
I think you're spot on with your comments. Spot on, Holly Louise. He did look a bit gassed today. He looked a bit out of sorts. I do agree with you. I think that's a very sensible thing, observation. Definitely, probably be best to play in Preston. I think that's very, very true. I agree with you 110% there, Holly. Anything else you wanted to say about the match today? Oh, look at that. Kapoo.
I got that from Ryan Andrews when he played against Middlesbrough.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely.
This is obviously signed by all the players. This
Brilliant.
is from Wesley Hoot.
Brilliant.
And then this is from Kone.
That's fantastic, Holly. Excellent. Excellent stuff.
Best bowler in the world.
Oh, yeah. No question about it. We love him. We love our João Pedro. He might be at Brighton, but he's always in our hearts, Holly. Good man. Say it one more time.
They did very well today, Brian.
Yeah, they did. They certainly did. Good point.
AFC. We're beating Wolves 3-2.
Ooh, wow. That's what's going on right now.
Yeah, we're going to score a goal.
Good. Good. Excellent stuff. I am so pleased.
Come on, Dele. Come on, Dele.
Go on.
Come on.
Hey, come on.
Go. We scored.
Yay! Yes! There you go, Holly Louise. Yeah, get in. Gotta love that.
I reckon we're going to beat Preston 3-0.
All right, early prediction, 3-0 then. Okay.
Preston, honestly, they lost today, didn't they? They lost 3-1 today.
They did lose. Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, they.
Never been so happy to see Norwich. Never been so happy. Norwich played very well today. But that goal for Bar, that was definitely a goal against City. I don't care what people say, because Haaland got away with that when he did it against a Tottenham player.
He did.
But I generally think I don't want to put predictions in yet of us winning the league, but I think we could.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I'd love to see us win the league, but that's me being hopeful because the next games we have got, they are going to be tough, but it's one of those things Watford have got to put into perspective. How are we going to play these games and how are we going to tactically win these games? Today, yes, they played well. Bear in mind, I couldn't go to the game today. My brother went instead with my dad. But watching it on my phone is not as good as being at the game. But tactically, best player at the moment is obviously Georgie Chaptatse. Like, out of everyone, this has got Ken Semmer on the back.
Nice.
Guy. But honestly, out of 10, I think out of 10, I'd give them a solid 8 out of 10 performance today. They played tactically. There are a few things they need to work on, but we can't really say much. We're not even halfway through the season yet. So, yes, the strengths are there. Chaptatse we need a striker. In January, Watford need to buy a striker. Jebson is okay on and off, but if you want me to be truly truthful, we're not going to do anything with him. He's not the best player I've seen play for Watford.
Yeah, it's he's not shown up yet, he's not really turned up for us yet. I know it's early doors for him, but he has not shown anything. He's not shown any signs yet, Holly Louise. I think you're absolutely right. We'd love to see a bit more energy from him, a bit more of a presence on that pitch. He doesn't really have it at the minute. So I'm a bit concerned about Jebs. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I agree. January, we've got to get active in January. We have to. You know, we don't have any, the player that we shipped off. I can't believe forget his name now. Forget Rajovic. We got rid of him to Brøndby for the season long.
I think they made a tactical error there. They should have kept Rajovic. I am. We should have kept Rajovic. And got rid of Bayo because Bayo, honestly, today, Bayo's a waste of space.
Yeah, listen, I'm a big fan of his, but he has not cut the mustard for us in front of goal. He is not. You know, I love him because he's done a lot for the team, but he has not scored goals, really. 1 goal in the year, very disappointing in front of goal.
1 goal in, what, 5 games?
A load of games, exactly.
Don't get me wrong, good player and all, but he ain't the one that's going to set us up to win big games. Like today against Sunderland, he looked lost. He looked like he didn't want to be there. Ryan Porteous, he only wants one thing, and that's to kill people.
Right. And that
he is not the best player I've ever seen play football.
Yeah.
But out of 10, I'll give him a solid 6 today.
Right.
Pollock played very well today. Bearing in mind, I'd say Pollock at the moment is our best centre back.
Definitely.
Him and Sirelta. But there's no Sirelta at the moment because he's injured. Backman, I've never rated him ever. But Bond looks good.
He did.
I think if we keep Bond in goal, we'll win games. With Backman, we concede in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
With Bond in goal, we did not concede in the first 10 minutes.
It's his first championship start for us in his second go round, and yeah, you're absolutely right.
Why? I don't understand why they'd never started him in the first place.
Yeah, it's strange to me. Bond's got a lot of experience, a good veteran goalkeeper. He's steadier, better ball distribution than Backman. He's smarter with his angles. He's got a better control and command of the box when he comes out for the ball. Backman doesn't. Backman is a good shot stopper, but I think Jonathan Bond is a better and more complete goalkeeper. We'll see Bond now. He'll get a lot more games until Backman comes back. They spent a lot of money on him, Holly Louise. Then that's probably another thing they want to justify why Backman's there, is because they spent a ton of money on him.
I don't think Backman should be number 1 goalkeeper. I know that's a big statement, but he shouldn't. He's not fit to be number 1 goalkeeper. His long balls are awful. If you watch Bond's long balls compared to his, you can see that Bond has got more experience than this half-wasted space goal. I can't stand Backman.
You're not alone there.
He's not good enough. He's the reason we lost that game on last Saturday when I went to the Norwich game. But honestly, with Bond in goal, I feel like we're more completed as a family. There's more family dynamic there. Last year, the dynamic was gone when we had.
I think your audio's gone.
What?
Oh, there we go.
I reckon Watford could do it. I reckon they could do it. I mean, obviously, we've got Luton in a couple of weeks. That'd be a test. 12:30 kickoff. That'd be a test. But then again, Luton are awful.
Yeah.
And I think I might do the impossible and go straight down.
Right. And of course, we'll be cheering for that.
But my relegation thing at the moment, I've got Cardiff and Preston to go down. I just need Luton to go down.
Yeah, let's make it the holy trifecta then.
To be honest, I think we could get playoffs. I think Norwich are a team that could do it this year. Norwich have got a very good side. They've got Sargent. They've got Ashley Barnes.
Yeah, Barnes is still there.
Two crucial players. Two players that make an impact. We need a player like Sargent at Watford who's going to make that impact. I don't understand why they got rid of Dennis. That was probably the best tactical error they've ever done.
Yeah.
And you've got Gino Pozo inside, so you won't get anything out of it.
No, absolutely. And you've got some people agreeing with you on YouTube, Holly, Louise. I've got to agree with Holly, says Matt, about Bayo should have been the one to go. So there's Matt chiming in your corner as well. Yeah, look, the front office has not done some good things here lately. They've been up and down. We'll see how these other players pan out. Some of them are injured at the minute with Kevin and the likes of him. We'll see about Dwoma. Dwoma had a decent game this past week against City. He was all right. Festi was decent today. He scored the goal.
I don't know why Bar doesn't start. Bar is probably one of the quickest players on the team.
Yeah.
Watching Ken Sema last week was like watching a slice of bread go mouldy because he was awful.
Right.
But honestly, it's been embarrassing. Yes, Ken Sema is 30 years old. He's been there the longest serving Watford player at the moment being there. But he is not going to make the runs that Georgie Chatfatatse provides for the club to get there and give us goals. Watch Bar make those runs. You saw it against Man City on Tuesday. He made them runs. That's how we get goals. Not with bloody Ken Sema on the ball trying to get there. I haven't. I'm winning 3-0. 3-0 now. I'm beating Liverpool.
Excellent. Now, Holly, Louise, your points are really well taken. I love what you've had to say because you're right on target, I think, with everything you've said. Bar is a much more dynamic player, much more fluid player.
Maybe I should manage Watford. Just
you should. Yeah. Why not? It would be great to have you managing the club. I think you put a lot of things right. Not that Cleverly is a disaster. He's not. But I think you'd put a lot right.
All I can say about Cleverly is fair play to him. He has done some wonders for this club. He is an absolute treasure to everyone. Obviously, he's always going to be in our hearts, especially that goal that he scored against Arsenal.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not my favourite player. My favourite player is Wesley Hu. I don't know why, but he's such a lovely guy when you meet him. But they should never have got rid of him either. But, another mistake that Pozo's made.
Yeah.
But that is what I've said about Watford. Gino Pozo knows when he wants them out because he's got a phone number in the back of his pocket and he knows when he wants players out.
Yeah, definitely knows what he does. He's he drops the hammer when he wants to drop the hammer, doesn't he? We know that very well.
As much as it's Kone's first game for Marseille tonight, I hope he does a blinder because he would have been great for us this season.
I agree.
We've probably done really well this season with him. But you've got the likes of seeing the fact that Georgie Chatfatatse has now signed another 5-year contract for Watford. But as much as he's a good player, the way that he created that space on Tuesday against
City,
he could easily go to a top team. Honestly, baller. He's a fantastic player. He's one of the biggest assets to the team. I think if we didn't have him and the likes of Bar, I wouldn't say Larouci because Larouci's crap. Bar, Deli Bashiri, Ryan Andrews, who was missing today because he's got an injury.
That's right.
But today. We could easily. I think we can easily win the league. It is winnable because the Championship is very, very up and down. Like 1 minute you could be bottom of the league, 1 minute you can be second in the league.
Right.
Like it's a very different game, unlike the Premier League, which I think obviously I don't want to be horrible and all, but Watford aren't. I wouldn't say Watford at the moment are a Premier League club, but when they played Coventry, I think they would have done. If you watch them, Watford look more like a Premier League club than Coventry ever will, because Watford have got the money, the funds, everything to become a Premier League club. They've got the stadium, for instance. That stadium is beautiful.
Certainly.
So hopefully they do it. I would love to see that, but it is Watford and all, and we know what Watford are like. They can be very dodgy. They'll lose a game to, like last year, I think they beat Hull because obviously Hoop scored that goal from the halfway line.
Yes.
And then they to Hull 1-0. And you're thinking to yourself, you literally just beat Hull 4-0. How are you losing to Hull 1-0? This is what Watford do. When they play Cardiff at home, they lost 1-0. You're thinking to yourself, you've just beaten this team 3-0 away, and you're thinking to yourself, but how are you losing? The games Watford lose are the most crucial games. That game that they played, I think they drew. If that could be the game that can cost them, one of those games they lost early in August could be the game that costs them the league, and that's what Watford don't want. Watford need to either win, draw, or just win and draw, not win and lose all the time.
Right. Absolutely. We want consistency from our club. And I think you made some excellent points. Holly Louise, thank you so very much for your insights. Really appreciate it. Come back again as you do every week, and have you on again next week. Really like what you've had to say. And I agree with pretty much everything you've had to say. Thank you very much, Holly Louise. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Take care. You're welcome. Come on, you ones. Take care now. Thank you. That was terrific. Holly Louise there. And I hope for those of you on Instagram, on YouTube, you got to hear what she had to say. Brilliant analysis. Holly Louise, excellent analysis. Thank you very much for that. Giving us a really good picture of her insights into Watford. Her analysis was brilliant there. She knows her club very well through and through. And it was really a great privilege and pleasure to have her on to talk with us today. Thank you very much, Holly Louise. Really appreciate your insights about the club. Really good, very knowledgeable, as Tracy has pointed out as well on Instagram, and fantastic analysis about the club that she loves very dearly. We will see how Watford go, of course. It's anyone's guess at this point how Watford will progress this season. There is a lot that we have of this season to go. Holly Louise, thank you very much again for your comments. Really appreciate that. I do hope that you win your match there as well. I'm sure you will. I'm going to read some more comments before heading home here down the home stretch. I've got a couple more minutes to go. I want to say this. This is from Matt, actually, on YouTube. Thank you very much, Matt, for this comment, which I'm about to read. Matt says, Bar needs more starts over Bio, because players like Sissoko and Chakvetadze need someone who can actually use their pace to get to the ball and not give up if the ball is too far away from them. Yeah, what we need, and I thank you for the comment, Matt, what we need, and Holly talked about this too, is we need people who make those runs. She talked about Bar making the runs into the box and not having someone like Sema do it, because Sema kind of stops short, the play slows down, and the team is less dynamic and less fluid. But with Bar, you've got someone who's an energy spark who will penetrate deep into the box, and he makes a complete run, and he stretches the game and makes Watford more dangerous. That's one of the things that Holly talked about, Holly Louise, earlier. And the statement of the day, she says, we don't need Bio. Holly is correct, and I'm a big fan of Bios, but he does not get the scoring done. And if you don't get the scoring done, ultimately, even though you are a team player, and I value team players who work hard for the team as he does, but ultimately he's got to score goals. And he scored an excellent goal, by the way, that game against Derby. But that cannot be enough. In 7 games, you played 7 games in the Championship, 1 in the Cup, and you've only scored, or 2 in the Cup, and you've only scored once. again, that's nearly 10 games into a season. You played 2 in the cup and 7 in the championship. That's 9 games already, and you've only got 1 goal. That's a problem. That is a problem as far as Watford are concerned. And so he'll end up leaving at the end of the season. And again, I didn't like his attitude at the beginning at the game when he got pulled off the pitch against City and he stropped. Today was better when he got pulled off the pitch. He was a bit better about it. But Bio's got to start scoring goals. I mean, a lot of Watford fans don't like him because he don't score. And listen, I like him. I'm a big fan of his because he works hard for the team and he's a team player. But you've got to score goals as well. At some point, you need goals, and otherwise, what's the point? Okay, we got another request here. Oh my goodness me, we got some people who want to make a request. We would like to see if we can do that. This will be the last one of this round because we will then move on and call it a day. But unfortunately, I'm not getting any success here bringing you up for whatever reason. Chris, I'm trying to get Chris in here. Oh yeah, Holly. Holly says if it's all right if I can join again and go on the point of bio. Yeah, we'll try with Holly. We'll go with Holly, Louise, again about bio. She wants to say something about Vakun bio, and we'll see if we can get you up. Hey, there she is. All right. Hello again.
This is my statement about the worst Watford player I've ever seen. Right, Bayo, this is advice for you, mate. Firstly, you stroppy git. Firstly, that game again, right, bearing in mind, everyone goes, oh, Bayo's so good. No, he's not. Bayo's a waste of space. Bar, honestly, could walk over him all day long. I love Bayo with my heart. He is good, don't get me wrong. But when you want goals, call Bar or chat for Tatsy. I'm your biggest fan. I follow you around the country. Chat for Tatsy. Baller. Rocco Vata. What's going on with him? Where's he? He played so well against Norwich.
He did.
What is going? We need players who want to play. We do not need a miserable git who's nearly 30, stropping off, bearing hard. But no one saw this. Backman threw his gloves at breaking news for you guys. Backman threw his gloves when he came off the pitch against Norwich because he knew he was injured.
Wow.
Oh.
That's not the first. Thank you very much, Holly. Again, really appreciate it. And that's not the first time he did that. He did that against Huddersfield last season when he got sent off too, among other things. But Holly, thank you again.
I don't rate him. I think bear in mind, he's a half-hearted keeper. He only cares about one thing, and some players do. This is Bayo in particular. Bayo only cares about one thing, and that's the pay packet at the end of the month. When Bayo gets that pay packet, he's happy, and then he'll score a goal. And then after like a whole month, he won't score a goal. Then he'll get a pay packet again. Then he'll score again. That's how Bayo works.
Holly, Louise, it's always great to hear from you. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you again very soon. Thank you. Take care now. All right. So Holly, Louise again there. Again, look, a lot of Watford fans feel the same way Holly does. And it's a shame that he's not scored more. I'm one of his biggest defenders, but I will call him out when he don't score. I will be one of the first people, like Holly Louise is, to call him out when he don't score. I have said this consistently about him. He ain't a player who can consistently score. He doesn't do that. And so I'm sorry, as much as I'm a big fan of his, him missing all these easy chances. I know it's hard to score. It's the hardest thing to do in football, but my goodness me, you have got to put the ball in the back of the net. The chances that he's missed this season, he's missed about a dozen opportunities. He's missed a dozen sitters already. He's at least half a dozen sitters. I'll say that for him. At least half a dozen. And that's really, really untenable. And so, look, he's going to be gone at the end of the season. I'll say that. Holly is definitely right that, look, he's not consistent. And there are a lot of Watford fans who, like Holly, are frustrated at, and understandably so, at Bayo. He's not good enough. He had goals scored. He scored goals elsewhere, but when he come to Watford, he didn't really score any. He scored, 8 last season, and he scored just the 1 this season. So he's just not going to cut the mustard. I think Watford understand that now. That he's off. He's an Udinese player. he's on loan. So that is that with Bio. I do want to thank you all for being here on this brand new edition of the You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live. And of course, thank you to all of you also on YouTube, You ORNS WFC on YouTube. Please follow on YouTube at You ORNS WFC, the YouTube channel. Backman thrown his toys out the pram, says Matt. Come on, man up, says Matt. He laughs with the laughing emoji. Yeah, Backman, you know, again, there's a lot of fans who also have a problem with Backman. And listen, I think Backman's been very uneven. He has got bits and pieces right as a goalkeeper, but he ultimately does not have the distribution that I think is necessary. And I think his temperament is questionable. We've seen his temperament be a problem at this club. We've also seen that he does not have proper command of his goalkeeping area. Sometimes he doesn't know when to come for the ball, when to commit for the ball, and when to stay home on his line. That's been a real problem with Backman. And again, as I said, as Holly pointed this out too, his distribution is not good. Not good as not as good as Bond. Bondy is much better. I think Backman has a lot still to learn, even though I would call him a veteran goalkeeper now, would you believe? He had signed a 5 or 6 year deal with Watford last season before, and some of us are still wondering if he can produce that. But make no mistake, he is a very good shot stopper. He will make some big saves for you on shot stops, but he really sometimes miscalculates the angle and the flight of the ball. We saw that against Norwich. Holly was at that game last week at Carrow Road. We saw that opening goal, didn't we? How he misjudged that. He should have saved it. It was a good strike, to be fair. But look, bottom line is he's got to get that right. He has got to get that right, and he didn't get it right. There's no question about that. He needed to get that ball right last week, and that really set the tone for Norwich as they hammered us last week proper, and then he got injured. So we don't know when Backman will return. I know some Watford fans will hope he doesn't. Listen, the bottom line is that he is not as good a goalkeeper, even as Ben Hamer was last season, when Ben Hamer stepped in and was real good last season for Watford. But here is what Tracy has to say. It's early days, says Tracy. It's early days, though. It certainly is. Bio got it today. He did. Bio is a problem. Again, I'm a big fan of Bio's, but I've got to be honest. He has not cut the mustard here so far this season. He's not cut the mustard at all. And Holly pointed that out with her comments earlier. There's a lot of Watford fans do not care for Bio simply because he's not scoring. He's missing so many sitters. He missed one at City the other day. He had a header today that went just over the bar. Listen, he's just not cut out for me to get this goal that we need. We need consistency from Bio. He works really hard. I love that about him. That's why I'm a fan of his, because he really does graft for the team. But when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net, I'm sorry. How many sitters do we see all the time? Miss after miss after miss. Sitter after sitter after sitter is missed by this man. And he's literally 2 yards away. He's literally 2 yards away, and he's missing these things. Heading the ball against City, he had it right the wrong side of the post. I mean, Larucci put a great ball in for him Tuesday night. He couldn't get that down and in the goal. So look, Watford fans are going to tell you how they feel. It's a fair. I've got no complaint about that because the criticism is justified. If the criticism wasn't justified by Holly or anyone else, I would certainly make a comment against it. But even as a Bio fan who is a fan of his work ethic, I can't argue with what Holly said. I can't argue with what any Watford fan says about Bio, because he's not cut the mustard. He's not got the job done in front of goal. Good guy, works hard for the team. He grafts, and I'd rather have that in a side. But at some point, you've got to start scoring goals, and you've got to stop missing these sitters. Got to stop missing the sitters. I mean, really, that's the thing that sticks in your craw about Bio. And yet he works so hard. And then there are players who score, but they don't do anything else for the team. And I've said this before. I'll be honest about this. I'd rather have someone who don't score as much but works hard than someone who scores but don't do anything and is one-dimensional. But in the case of Bio, it's not that he doesn't score as much. He misses so many sitters. And that is the source of frustration for a lot of the Watford fan base. I'll read the rest of your comments here. Holly Louise said, but it is, but always, as always, Backman throwing hands. So mute. There we go on Backman. Listen, there's a couple of people who do get a lot of stick, and rightly so, I think. Backman's one of them. He got all that money, got that long contract, and a lot of Watford fans, including myself, will say, I don't think he's justified that. I really don't think he has justified that as of now. And also for Bio, although I'm a big fan of his, the problem is he's not scoring goals. I mean, listen, so many sitters every week. There's at least 3 sitters that he misses, and that is going to frustrate the fan base. There's no ill will. It's just if you ain't cutting the mustard, you're not going to get appreciation from your fan base. That they're not going to show you the love. It's like when this team used to play so poorly at the Vic, and we would sit there and look at them going, "What is this football?" And you're not going to get cheers. You're not going to get people backing you if you don't put the product out in the field and the product does not play for you. This season, the product is coming to play. We've won 6 home matches, or 5 or 4 home matches, maybe 5, 4 or 5 home matches we've won this season. We went the whole season last season, won only 6, I believe it was. So we are already making good on Clevs, wanting this side to be so much better at home, because that's where our bread and butter is this season. Any run we make toward the playoffs has got to be based on our home form, and we are unbeaten at home this season. That is a good start to it. We've got a lot of games to play. We've got Preston North End coming up Wednesday and Saturday afternoon. We've got Saturday at 3 p.m. kickoff. We've got Middlesbrough, if I'm right in saying, Middlesbrough. And then, of course, we've got a number of games after that, the likes of that lot up the road we've got to play after the international break. We've also got Leeds as well. I mean, there's a load of games coming. Blackburn as well. This is a stretch for Watford now. And I think this gives us a lot of confidence today off the back of that second half against Manchester City. And it was a good second half for us, despite being exited from the cup competition. I want to thank Holly Louise for her insights once again, and for everyone else who've given their insights today on both YouTube and on Instagram. Yours truly, Omar, here, saying thank you very much for all your time on this edition of the You ORNS post-match. Thank you also for participating in the quiz, Holly Louise, and of course, Peter Hopwood, and of course, Chris Brearley as well. Here we go. One more comment from Matt on YouTube. Thank you, Matt, for your contributions. Billy and everyone else who's contributed today on YouTube and here on Instagram as well at You ORNS WFC. Please join us, won't you, on both X and on Instagram with at You ORNS WFC. Follow there, won't you, please? And on Instagram, and on YouTube with the You ORNS WFC YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, won't you, please? Thank you very much. Here's the Matt with the final comment. Matt says, Omar, I looked at Bio's shot stats in this game. He had 6 total shots and only 1 made chance created and 1 big chance created. Yeah, it's a real difficult one, isn't it? My goodness me, we've got to do something in January, Matt. As Holly said on Instagram, we've got some things to do. This front office has got to get busy in the transfer market to get some kind of striker in here. Jefferson has not shown up yet. I know it's been about 4 games for him or so. He's not started any of these games that I can think of in the championship. Maybe the one game, maybe against Norwich. Did he start that game? I think he did. But outside of that game, he's not started any other championship game. And we need to get strikers in here. We need them fast by January. So there we go. Tracy, thank you very much indeed as well. Take care, everybody. And that is it for now on this edition. The final score today from the Vic: Watford 2, Sunderland 1. That's exactly my prediction. That was my prediction before the game started. And I am pleased about that. 3 points in the bag then. Watford moving up the table. I think they're 7th or 6th now, whatever it is, with a total of 13 points. We'll see you next week. We'll see you this coming Wednesday after the match on You ORNS post-match. We're not doing a pre-match today on Wednesday. We're doing a post-match only. And until then, it's Omar saying, You ORNS. Take care, everyone, and have a very good Saturday evening. Be well. Come on, You ORNS. Thank you there, Matt.